What if the reason you're struggling isn't because you're weak, but because you're exactly where greatness begins? See, most people think winning feels good right away. Like one day you wake up, start trying hard, and success shows up with a high five and a smile. But that's not how it works. The truth? This is what hard feels like. That's what David Goggins, the man who ran 100 miles on broken legs, keeps saying. And he's right. The early days of change don't feel like victory. They feel like confusion, exhaustion, doubt. And just when you're ready to quit, that's when you're actually starting to change. Mel Robbins, one of the most powerful voices in personal development, said it best, "You don't have to feel motivated. You just have to be committed." This video is about that commitment. It's not about chasing motivation or waiting for the perfect time. It's about the moment you realize, if it feels harder than it should, that might mean you're finally doing it right. Imagine running a marathon. At first, it's just movement. Your legs are fresh, your mind's sharp. But a few miles in, your body starts to ache, your breath shortens, and your brain starts whispering lies. That's when most people stop. That's when champions begin. So if you're watching this thinking, why does it feel like I'm stuck? Like I'm doing everything and getting nowhere? Stick around. You're not lost. You're not broken. You might just be in the exact moment where transformation begins. In this video, we're going to show you why consistency beats talent, how discipline becomes freedom, and how hard isn't the enemy. It's the signpost that you're on the right road. You don't need to be the most gifted. You don't need to have the best timing. You just need to keep showing up. This is what hard feels like. You ever feel like you're putting in the effort, doing everything right, but somehow nothing's working? Like you're stuck, spinning your wheels in the mud while others seem to race past you? That moment, that exact feeling, is where most people quit. But it's also the moment where real growth starts. This is what hard feels like. David Goggins knows this more than anyone. As a Navy SEAL and ultra-endurance athlete, Goggins didn't get where he is because he was born tough. He got there because he refused to stop. He says, "You don't stop when you're tired. You stop when you're done." That's not just motivation, it's a mindset. One that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The truth is, change doesn't feel like fireworks and victory laps. It feels like resistance, like doubt, like failure. But here's the twist. Those feelings are actually signs that you're evolving. Mel Robbins puts it simply, you're never going to feel like doing what you need to do. You just have to move. That's where the 5-second rule comes in. Count 5-4-3-2-1 and go. Because waiting for motivation is like waiting for a bus that never comes. Want to know how champions are made? Let's talk about a 15-year-old kid named Michael Jordan. He got cut from his high school basketball team. Cut. Most kids would quit. But Jordan used that moment not to give up, but to go harder. He trained every single day, building the mindset that would make him the greatest basketball player in history. He didn't get better by luck, he got better by showing up, even when it hurt. That's the key to personal development. Repetition under pressure. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, says, "Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become." Think about that. You don't build confidence by feeling good, you build it by proving to yourself that you show up when it's hard. Take Bethany Hamilton, for example. She was just 13 when a shark took her arm during a surfing accident. Most people would never step foot in the ocean again. But not Bethany. She was back in the water just 4 weeks later. She didn't just recover. She redefined what it meant to be a surfer. Her story isn't about talent. It's about persistence and identity. And identity is built through what you do, not what you say. Sylvester Stallone was homeless and broke when he wrote Rocky. No one wanted it. He was offered money, big money, but only if he didn't play the lead role. He refused. He believed in his vision so much, he sold his dog to buy time. Eventually, someone said yes, and the rest is history. But the part no one talks about. He kept writing, kept pushing, kept getting rejected, until his persistence broke through the wall. Kevin Hart bombed his early comedy shows so hard people booed him off stage. He didn't quit. He learned. Every bomb became fuel. He didn't get funnier overnight. He got braver, more consistent, until he became one of the highest paid comedians in the world. And then there's Terry Fox. Diagnosed with cancer and losing one leg, he decided to run across Canada. Not walk, run. On one leg. His marathon of hope became one of the most legendary stories of grit the world has ever seen. He didn't finish the run, but he moved a nation, and that's what consistency can do, even when results aren't instant. Les Brown once said, "It's not over until I win." That's the spirit we're talking about. You might feel like quitting today, like your work isn't adding up. But what if all that struggle is just the cost of change? This chapter is your reminder. Every great story starts with a chapter of resistance. Don't mistake pressure for failure. Don't confuse discomfort with defeat. You're not falling apart. You're becoming someone new. Because every repetition you do under pressure is one more vote for your future self. So let me ask you, which one of these stories hit you hardest? Which moment reminded you of something you're fighting through right now? How many times have you said, "I'll start when I'm ready," or "I just don't have time right now"? That's the trap. And it's how most people stay stuck for years. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect moment. But here's the secret, they're never coming. Mel Robbins calls this the win-then lie. When I feel ready, then I'll act. But guess what? You'll never feel ready. Not if you're doing something that matters. And David Goggins, he doesn't wait for a good day to train. He trains on the days his mind screams, "Oh," because those are the days that build the most strength. That's not just discipline. That's power. In personal development, one of the most important lessons you can learn is this: start broken. Start scared. Start small. Just start. Because confidence doesn't come before the action. It comes from the action. Tom Brady, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, was the 199th pick in the NFL draft. 6th round. Nearly ignored. But he didn't wait to feel like a legend. He just kept preparing like one. So when his moment came, he was ready, not because he felt ready, but because he had practiced enough to become ready. That's how confidence is built. It's not a feeling. It's repetition. Mel Robbins teaches the 5-second rule for a reason. That moment where your brain hesitates, you have 5 seconds to act before fear takes over. The more you act, the less space fear has to grow. James Dyson made over 5,000 prototypes before launching the first working vacuum that made him a billionaire. 5,126 to be exact. Every failure wasn't wasted, it was learned. He didn't wait for perfect. He just kept testing, kept moving. That's how mastery is built, one messy, awkward, repeated action at a time. Rachel Hollis was writing books while raising 3 kids, waking up at 4 a.m. to work on her dreams before anyone else was awake. She didn't wait for quiet or clarity. She carved it out of chaos. Arnold Schwarzenegger. He didn't just train his body, he trained his time. While lifting weights, he was also studying acting and learning English. He stacked habits. He found time where others found excuses. And Brené Brown, the queen of vulnerability research, her most viral TED Talk came from the moment she stopped over-preparing and just showed up as herself. No armor. Just action. And it changed everything. Tony Robbins once said, "Progress equals happiness." But most people never feel that happiness because they wait to feel enough before they begin. What they don't realize is you become enough through progress, not before it. Jim Rohn, one of the godfathers of self-discipline, said it simply, "Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better." And you get better by doing, even if the first 50 times are a mess. This chapter isn't about perfection. It's about motion. Your brain can't build momentum if you're standing still. The goal isn't to crush it from day 1. It's to show up on day 1, then again on day 2, then day 3. Because every single time you do the thing you were going to avoid, you become the kind of person who does it anyway. So, what small, uncomfortable action are you willing to repeat this week before you're ready? Here's a truth most people miss. It's not willpower that keeps you going. It's your environment. We like to think we're in control of every decision, but the space around us, the people we interact with, even the sounds we hear, all play a role in what we do or don't do. That's why change feels so hard. Because you're trying to grow in a space that was built to keep you small. David Goggins knows this deeply. He didn't become the hardest man alive by chance. He created an environment so demanding, so unforgiving, that his mind had no choice but to evolve. He often says, "You have to build calluses on your mind, and you do that by placing yourself where comfort cannot grow." Mel Robbins puts it this way: if you want different results, create a different routine, different people, different surroundings. Your habits are not just about discipline, they're reactions to what surrounds you. Let's look at Kobe Bryant. He didn't become the Black Mamba because of talent alone. While others were sleeping, Kobe was training at 4 a.m. every day. Why? Because he built an environment that demanded greatness. No distractions, no shortcuts, just sweat and repetition. Steve Jobs? When he returned at Apple, he didn't just change the products, he changed the company culture. He stripped it down, focused on excellence, and built a space where creativity thrived. The environment became the engine of Apple's comeback. Jamie Kern-Lima, founder of IT Cosmetics, pitched her products to room after room of male investors who didn't understand why women needed what she created. Every room rejected her. Every boardroom became a test. But instead of shrinking, she stood taller. She didn't wait for the room to change. She changed herself inside that room. That's what winning in tough environments looks like. Ryan Holiday, author of The Obstacle is the Way, reminds us that the very thing blocking your path might be the path. The obstacle is the way, he says. Meaning, don't run from the hard stuff. Turn into it. Make it your advantage. Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL, takes it even further. Discipline equals freedom. That sounds backwards until you live it. Create structure around your day, and suddenly you feel more in control. That's the paradox. When you control your environment, you free your potential. Think about Maya Angelou. She used to write in hotel rooms she'd rent by the hour, not to escape, but to focus. She changed her environment to unlock her creativity. She wasn't waiting for inspiration to strike. She was building a space where it had to show up. Ray Dalio, billionaire founder of Bridgewater Associates, built his company around radical transparency and brutal honesty. Why? Because he knew truth flourishes in environments that demand it. He didn't hope his team would be better. He built a system where excellence had no choice but to rise. When you surround yourself with people who settle, you'll shrink. But when your environment demands greatness, when it stretches you, challenges you, exposes your excuses, that's when transformation happens. So how do you shift? You don't need to move across the country. Start small. Clear the clutter from your workspace. Set your alarm for 30 minutes earlier. Unfollow one account that makes you feel less. Add one that makes you rise. Mel Robbins says it clearly, motivation is garbage. You act your way into feeling, not the other way around. And where you act most consistently, that's where you've made space to grow. This chapter isn't just about mindset, it's about design. Because when your environment supports your identity, you don't need to force change. You just live it. So let me ask you, what part of your environment is holding you back, and what's one thing you'll change this week to step into who you're becoming? If there's one thing to take away from this, it's this. The hard you're feeling right now, that's not proof you're failing. It's proof you're becoming. David Goggins says it best, most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they quit. That's the truth most people won't tell you. The problem isn't your effort. The problem is your expectation that growth should feel easy. It doesn't. Growth feels like pain, like resistance, like hard. And this is what hard feels like. Mel Robbins reminds us, you already have everything you need. You're just waiting to feel ready. But readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. You decide to move forward when you're scared. You decide to stay committed when the outcome isn't clear. You decide to show up even when you want to disappear. That's the difference between those who succeed and those who settle. Because success isn't winning once. It's outlasting everything that tries to make you stop. You don't win because you had the best plan. You win because you kept showing up when others didn't. You shook hands when no one responded. You wrote when no one read. You trained when no one watched. You kept going when no one clapped. That's what makes you extraordinary. Not what you do once, but what you're willing to do forever. Jim Rohn once said, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Let that sink in. Not talent. Not timing. Just consistency. Daily. quiet, unseen, powerful. You've heard the stories. You've seen what discipline and environment and action can create. Now the question isn't whether you're capable, it's whether you'll continue. Not because it's easy, but because you said you would. And if this message lit something inside you, do something about it. Share it. Like it. Drop a comment and say, I choose consistency. Let the world know what you're committed to. Let your future self know you're not quitting. Because the most powerful force in personal development is the one who refuses to give up on themselves. That can be you. Stay consistent.
Hey, incredible growth seekers. Wow, what a journey. If this video resonated, subscribe now for more life-changing content. Join our community of self-improvers. Smash that like button to fuel more content on mindfulness, goal setting, and emotional intelligence. Share this video to create a ripple of positive change. Comment below about your growth journey. Your insights shape our content. Next week, boosting self-confidence and overcoming limiting beliefs. Don't miss it. Every interaction brings us closer to a world of empowered individuals. Let's make personal development global. Stay inspired, keep growing. Your best self awaits. Let's unlock it together.